Good morning, simmers, or evening or afternoon, depending on where you are at. This is finally the last leg of the Rijeka to Santorini bush trip. So we will be flying from the last airport that we landed at Naxos to Santorini. This is about a 45 nautical mile trip, and the Cessna will make that trip in a little over 20 minutes or so. So it's not going to be a very long trip, and that will finish this bush trip. It's been a while since I have recorded for the bush trips, and so coming back again to try to finish this one up, and I hope to get started again on the next bush trip for the Alaska tour. Following the last update for Microsoft Flight Simulator, we have a new bush trip, and this tour is up in Alaska, and it overflies some of the changes that were made in the last update with the US upgrade. So we're looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and get started and complete this Rijeka to Santorini bush trip. Click continue. And this should take just a minute for us to get to the airport. We'll try to fly this about 1,000 feet up. No need to climb too high. I don't believe the mountains should not be present us a great deal of problem. And it's saying the leg is completed, so I don't know exactly what that means. And so let's find out. Maybe that's something changed in the way that they have set up these bush trips. And so here we go. Now we have the next leg is to Santorini, and we'll click here, and here we go. We're ready to go. And there is our VFR map to show us where we're going. I think I'll just close that. We'll try to do without the VFR map and follow the nav log as much as possible. This tells us that as we depart from Naxos on the last leg of your journey, head south across the water toward Los, a hilly island with cliffs that plunge down to the sea on most sides. So maybe we will have to climb a little more than 1,000 feet. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, what do we need to do? It's been a while since I've done this. So we will be flying out. Oh, I know what I need to do. Let's close this up a little bit, and we don't have our route there, but we will be flying at 186 degrees, and that is pointing us almost due south. So let's go ahead and make sure everything is as it should be. Flaps up. All right. All right, we want to turn around and go to this end of the airport. Looks like we'll have to back taxi. Now it looks like the wind is blowing from the left, so we want to go back to the other side, other end, and start there. I had forgotten that. I have reset my graphics settings. I think I set them to ultra, so hopefully it will look a little better than what it has in previous videos. But I might have some stuttering the way we had when we first started these videos too. So let's break right here, reset my change my heading. And my heading wants to turn in 10-degree increments now. It's a new bug. I don't know how to correct that. Let's see if I can reset it. There we go. We got it to 176. Use heading mode here in just a moment as we get started. We're going to set our altimeter to climb at 700 feet and our altimeter to climb to 2,000 feet, I guess. And set a VS mode, 700 feet per minute to climb, and that should climb us out on a reasonable angle. So once we get airborne and establish our climb, we will engage the autopilot. The autopilot does most of the work for us. Wait till we get about 60 and roll. That tip is from a new program I'm running that watches my takeoffs and landings and judges them. Landing Management System, LMS. So let's engage our autopilot. And we'll go ahead and engage the nav mode, and that'll set us on the right trajectory for our flight. Beautiful islands here in the Mediterranean. Let's get a little better picture of where we're going. It looks like all of my tips have been re-enabled after one of the updates. I don't think I had those disabled before. Maybe something I've done is re-enabled them. I'll have to go back and check that out. Distance 14 nautical miles to Papa Omega, India. Or that Oscar? I don't recall. Okay. And the total estimated time for this trip is 25 minutes. We're flying at 102 knots at this time. 106 is our true airspeed. We have a 7 mile per hour, 7 knots headwind, so our ground speed is only 104. I don't seem to be able to turn off my personal mode here, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing wrong. Here we go. Let's take a look at our nav mode again. We're currently flying at 186 degrees, and we'll fly for about 8 minutes and 37 seconds. So I think this is going to take us to that island across the passageway here. From there we will turn to the right, 207 degrees, heading 207. Don't have to worry about mountains too much flying over the sea. Only when you come to these islands, sometimes they can climb pretty high in the sky. Might have to climb a little bit to get over this island in front of us. We'll wait till we get closer before we make that judgment. We could veer to the right a little bit instead of doing that if we wanted to. But doing so would take us away from one of the sites of this bush trap. We are a little bit lower than the peak of this mountain on this island on the left, but we're not going that direction. The direction that we're going looks like we would be barely above ground level. We'll probably climb about 500 feet to give us enough clearance to get over the island. I'll go ahead and set that up. And now our altimeter will only increase in thousands of degrees, thousands of feet. That is unfortunate. I'm going to set the altimeter right at 2500 because that's where I want to be. It set it at 1,000 feet. But it's still climbing. It's still climbing. Every time they fix something, they break something else with these updates, and I don't know why that has to be that way. But if you notice, I have the altimeter. Oh, it says 3,000. Let's see if I can use the altimeter knob here to set 2500. No, both knobs. Oh, here we go. Now we've got 2500. We can now descend. In fact, we're over the height of this mountain now. We could descend back to 1,000 if we wanted to. We'll stay right here for a little while. All right, now we are turning to our next course, which would be to Campera Bay. From the northern coast of Ios, find your way southwest around the island's hills and outcroppings. Soon you will pass the bluffs and rock formations that make up the cape at Acra Fenari and Protectiles Bay. No, we're beyond that point. That was Campara Bay we just crossed. Now we're going to the southernmost point of Ios. Although that says our heading is 125, our course is 133. So we've got a good crosswind of 6 miles, or 6 knots. Then from the tip of this island, we will turn to Santorini. We'll have about another 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes, to come in for our landing. Correction, about 7 minutes. Our course is now 168, so we're heading towards Santorini. We'll go ahead and descend to 1,500 this time. And that'll put us in good shape to land. Have about a 7-knot headwind, so we will be selecting a runway that is will hopefully place us into that headwind. While we're waiting to get there, let's take a look at some of the software that I mentioned before. This little application is LRM, which is the software that looks at the landing, takeoffs and landing, and primarily it's for landing. It can be used with most of the flight simulators, and it's of course it's compatible with Flight Simulator for 2007. Doesn't say that here, but it is. As long as you start up the FSUI PC, which is the application that allows it to connect to the flight simulator. So do a Google, or you can visit the website here. Let me see if we can. And I don't want to do what they're asking me to do. So let's see if we can do that again. LRM. And I don't know where this is coming from. So that is, looks like probably somebody has hijacked my browser. So we'll have to save that for another time. And we're going to turn to heading 133. No, I'm sorry. Yes. We'll turn from 168 to 133 to the left. It looks like it may take us over these mountains. So I'm guessing the airport is going to be right over here along this coast. as I expected. And we see the papillites. A little turbulence over that mountain. We're a little low to be flying over it, but not to worry. And I believe we're going to want to bear to the left here, so I'm going to take us off the autopilot, reduce speed, get ready to set our flaps so that we can land this nice airplane. First notch. Go ahead and get our second notch in there. We do need to slow down before we get our third. Trying to climb, our speed is just a bit too, well, a good bit too high. And we have a displacement threshold, so our target is the beyond the papillites. And we'll get our last notch of flaps. Doing okay. A little high. And we just want to fly down the runway until we gently set down. And the applause is from the landing monitor. It does look like we have completed the bush trip. Well, if you watched all of these trips, I want to thank you for your endurance and watching. Hope you've enjoyed them and maybe learned something about the Microsoft Flight Simulator. And hope to see you again when we do our Alaskan bush trip coming up pretty soon.